Anyway, we will get to some of that stuff later, but right now we do have Coach McEndoo. And, hey, Coach, let me apologize. I had to send my producer the number, and I forgot to do it. So I'm here talking, waiting to get you on, and he's kind of waiting to get a phone number. So that would be a legal procedure on me, Coach.
There you go, buddy. That's all right. Lot going on these days.
Uh, there is, and let's start with this because we had Coach Rattay on in the first hour. And he, at the end of the interview, he said, Robert, I'm looking at boxes. The last boxes have been packed. The movers are going to put those on the truck, and then I'm collecting my three daughters and wife, and we're getting in the car and heading to Stillwater. Wow. This is a heck of a time to be moving across country, isn't it?
Heck of a time, man. Just stay in your car, keep driving, don't stop. We get to Stillwater.
Yeah, and the good thing is, gas stations are necessary businesses, so they've stayed open. And I guess you drive through when you need something to eat,
I
and
mean,
you know,
gas at all
yeah.
time low right now. So it's our last 10 years, 12 years. So there you go.
Oh, yeah. Hey, and you know, one of the you came up in the interview because I said I asked him. I said, "Tell us about your family, Coach." And he's got, a daughter in the ninth grade. I think a daughter in the sixth, maybe in the fourth grade. And I said, "Well, let me tell you something. Stillwater's a great place for families." And I said, "A great example are the McEndoos. I've never seen any family come in and just become family of the year in Stillwater. You guys fit that community in so many ways, including I'm so proud of your son. As hard as he works and watching him play on that Stillwater team, and even love the fact he took up wrestling and got into that. But your daughters, y'all are all involved in all kinds of extracurricular activities, and man, you're and I see Ruth. The last time I saw your wife was at Stillwater Milling. She had to come in and get some supplies. You guys just fit.
Yeah. Well, we love Stillwater. It's a great spot. The community's great. Love the fact that I can coach at a place like Oklahoma State, and we can still be involved in the ag side of everything, and kids can do everything. I mean, obviously that's the hard part right now is just all the activities. Everybody's on the go, and then I mean, everybody's in the same boat. Everything just comes to a screeching halt. So we're just trying to find, like everybody else, we're trying to find a daily schedule and trying to find things to do around here, and kind of move on with things.
One thing though, and I thought about this, is with your family. Yeah, I mean school, and all those things that are being interrupted by this. But one thing that doesn't get interrupted is when you've got farm animals, when you got chores. You got some a little bit of land you can stretch out on. Uh, I mean, I don't see this being a time where your kids are laying around not doing anything.
No, we're still up at 7:30 in the morning. They're out feeding their steer. We got lots of chores to do around the house. We do try to keep and maintain a schedule. Trying to find some academic time, find some work time, play time, workout time. Everybody trying to figure out what to do with Luke as far as lifting schedule, like everybody else. But we got a little gym called the Red Dirt Dojo out here, so he's been.
Rich.
We got squat rack, bench rack. I went down the road to a friend of mine, got a farm tire. So he's been doing tire flips and sledgehammer slams and stuff like that. So I've been playing catch with Ainsley. She's in softball, so I've been playing catch and hitting her grounder, stuff like that. Got some new steers on the ground here, so the girls are trying to break them in, washing them, blowing them out daily. So we already got we're kind of got built-in social distancing already. We live at the end of a dirt road, and so. Got a lot of space around us, so we've just been, doing what we can and trying to get by like everybody else.
Yeah, and I tell you, this is one of the things that we're doing with the website is talking to recruits, and obviously Luke is in this recruiting class, and yeah, this is going to be an interesting thing. I mean, obviously I was the weekend when everything shut down. I was going to be down in Dallas at Arlington Martin at a Under Armour camp showcase, whatever you want to call those things. Just like the NFL draft and having pro days and evaluations cut, they're going to go ahead and have their draft on time. It'll be interesting to see what happens in recruiting. I know as a coach, you're still working on recruiting during this interim, but one thing I could see the NCAA doing is maybe this year only pushing back that early signing period to give coaches and recruits more of a chance to get to know each other and make the right decisions. I don't know, but that's one idea I had.
Yeah, the time's definitely interesting in how to go about the evaluation process. You know, the big part of spring recruiting is getting boots on the ground and getting to see a kid actually in person. You know, Huddle and all the video and all the different tools we have nowadays is awesome and gives you a chance to really kind of get to see a kid and, you know, see what he does and see his skills. But really having that chance to really see a kid in person and say, you know, I'm 6'5", so when a coach says the kid's 6'5", if he's not looking me in the eye or he's not taller than I am, then he's not 6'5", you know. So that's where rubber meets the road in recruiting. And so you get a chance to really see if a kid's, you know, what his physical makeup looks like, what he looks like in person, how he moves, you know, just the stuff that's hard to really get a real in-person detailed look when you're watching film.
Well, and one more thing on the personal note, um, because I've been at events with Luke, and then I've also seen his high school games, and I've talked to other coaches that have seen him and got their opinion. How much do you think Luke benefits from some of the things you can? I mean, I don't think you're a hovering dad, but some of the things you can tell him, like, hey, son, you know when you talk to a coach, you need to address it this way, and you need to, just some of the tips that you're able to give him. Because one thing I've noticed about Luke, he doesn't fudge on any of his statistics. Because I've asked him, and I mean, he doesn't fudge on height, weight, speed, any of that. He is dead honest, which I appreciate because you don't get much of that, to be honest. Um, and then he looks you in the eye. I mean, I got to think some of that is you've told him, hey, this is what I like to see in a recruit, and you probably want to go about it this way.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you know, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. I don't drive a truck. I'm not a carpenter. I'm a ball coach. So I recruit every day of my life. And so being dad and being college coach, it does have its challenges and it does have, you know, definitely um, struggles at times. But the things you just talked about are the things I've tried to, you know, instill into him and all my kids. You know, just be respectful. You know, you look people in the eye, you shake their hand. You know, you be honest what you're doing, and at the end of the day, you got to work hard. You know, I mean, any recruit out there for Luke or anybody else. I mean, it's the hard work you put in and what you're putting on tape. You know, your resume is the tape. And I know, you know, speaking about Luke, I mean, he gets frustrated at times as far as stats or catching the ball or touchdowns or things like that. But I said, dude, everybody has a dominant trait. So if a wide receiver runs a 4.3, then his dominant trait is speed. If a right tackle, is 6'7", 315 pounds, his dominant trait is size. You know, or quarterback can throw a ball, or whatever your dominant trait is. I feel like for Luke, his dominant trait is physicality, and you have to put that on tape. You know, and so the finishing part, I think there's things go a long way. Guys are football players. I mean, Luke's a football player. You know, he plays the game the right way. He plays hard. He finishes to the end, and you know, he's come by that naturally. And he's worked hard at it, and I think, you know, lots of guys like to recruit coaches' kids because they get it. You know, they've been around the meetings, they've been around workouts, they've been around practice, they've been around their whole life, so they know what's expected and what they need to do going forward.
Cowboy backs coach Jason McEndoo with us, and before we get into talking about your current group of players and the brief 3 practices we had in spring before everything got cut short, got to ask you about one of your former pupils. Good news when Dallas signed Blake Jarwin to his second NFL contract, and couldn't be more proud of him. And that's a pretty cool deal.
Yeah, awesome. Couldn't happen to a better guy. I mean, you talk about a guy that came in and maximized every opportunity that he had and just did everything in his powers to control the things he can control, you know, and he just worked really hard at it here. You know, I came in 2015 was my first year, and in 2014, the end of the season, you know, Coach Gundy had just kind of decided to move him to the tight end position. The evolving Cowboy back then, I mean, it wasn't named then, but that's where it was going. And so I got here in 15, and I had him, Zach Beach, and Jeremy
Seaton.
Seaton. Seaton was kind of the elderly statesman there, and Blake and Zach were coming on, and then that's where it really started to evolve. The cowboy back position really started to evolve, and then Blake just had, he was first team All Big 12 that 2015 year, and just started really blossoming, and I really felt like that his game really went to the next level in blocking. Learning how to block in the box, on the perimeter. He already had the perimeter because he'd been a wideout, so. But just that in the box blocking stuff really took it to the next level. And then his senior year, he had a really nice year. And the thing about Blake too is you're not going to find a more humble person. I mean, just look what he did with the signing bonus. I don't know what he gave back to Oklahoma State, but that was one of the first things he did. I mean, not a lot of guys would do something like that. So he's a guy who remembers his roots, knows where he's come from, and he's done a tremendous job.
Yeah, and the fact that he thought of people that, and Roger, I've known Roger forever. I mean, he's the custodian that takes care of the West End zone and the coach's office level, and along with some of the other guys at work to keep that locker room nice, and here's Blake thinking about people that may be being cut out of their income during this deal, and reaching out and saying, "Hey, I want to help those people. They were important to me. They always had a good word for me, and Roger always has a good word for everybody." So,
That's right.
yeah, I could certainly relate to the move Blake made there.
You know,
Speak,
and even
yeah, and
go.
go ahead.
No, I was going to say even in his time, the road just through the NFL, the road through college football is not easy. The road to the NFL is not easy, and so then Blake takes a shot and signs free agent with the Cowboys, and it's an uphill battle to make the team and all that. And he did. He fought, scratched, and clawed his way in there, and then looked like things were promising. And then they bring Witten back, sets him back a year, but again, he just looked at it as an opportunity to learn from a Hall of Famer, and didn't bitch about it, didn't complain about it, just kind of went about his business and quietly had a solid year. And then McCarthy comes in and says, "Hey, I love what you're doing," and basically made a commitment to him. And I mean, that's awesome. That's a great blueprint for guys out there to see that, and know that the path isn't always easy. You got to be willing to work at it.
Nah, it's this sport is not easy. It doesn't matter what level. If you want to be the best you can be at the high school level, college, and like you said in the NFL, it is not everybody can do that. So let's talk about your current guys, and right off the bat, when you look at, I know Jelani is always going to be. I mean, he's always going to be impressive with his size, and I think he's worked at maximizing himself. But when you look at Logan Carter and Dayton Metcalf, those guys I think came out of even this most recent off season, and I mean it was easy to see on the field those three practices how they look. And of course, I'm a big fan of your latest recruit because I think you found a guy in Salina that other people uh, may have missed on. I'm real excited about Quentin Stewart. So how'd you feel about your group and the three practices you had them?
Yeah, I felt great about it. We're one of the more experienced groups on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, all these guys, Jelani, Logan, and Dayton, have all been 3-year players really. And Jelani is just he's just transformed his body from being a quarterback. He came in at 225 pounds. Now he's 265 plus, 270 somewhere in there. He probably got on a little bit on the high side during the season, and he did a great job. He lost 11 pounds in the off season. Try to get back down to a little slim up, a little slimmer, a little faster. But his blocking, what he does on the perimeter is really good, and really helped us in the run game last year. Really set that edge. And then the other thing too that a lot of people don't notice is just the protection, in the pass game, the ability that we give to add additional time, on the different things. And he's a guy that he can lock down. He can lock down defensive end by himself. And did a great job there. Logan Carter, probably none of the guys come as far as Logan. When he came on, I found him in a my first summer here, first summer camp, I was walking around the team room and I saw this blonde haired, good looking dude and said, "Hey man, where are you going at today?" He's like, "Oh, I'm a defensive end." I said, "You ever play tight end?" He's like, "Well, we don't really use tight end." I said, "Oh, it don't matter. Why don't you come and tight end with me today? I don't really
I
have a lot of
remember
guys."
this.
Yeah, so he jumped in tight end and just had a real willingness and just coachable and so I just recruited him and then invited him to walk on. I think he had a New Mexico offer at the time and it was a big deal for him to walk on here. Out of state tuition, single parent home, mom at home, so he had a great grade. He's a 4.0 guy, so he got some help there. But he's definitely followed the Blake Jarwin path. He started on special teams, worked his way in there, developed his body. And him and Blake have a very similar attitude and work ethic to Blake as far as you can tell me you can tell me whatever, you can say whatever. I know which direction I'm going. I'm gonna go that way, and he's gonna work as hard as he can to do it. So, he's very athletic, and he can hold his own as well. He does a nice job in blocking, does a good job route running, and so he's done a really nice job. Dayton Metcalf, he's your consummate Oklahoma kid. Oklahoma State family. Uncle playing for the Cowboys back in the day. Dr. Metcalf, who I went and saw, and he took care of me in the dentist chair. But Dayton's done a great job. There's a guy who worked hard in the weight room, get himself in position. He's been a big special teams guy. He's contributed there. But last year really found a niche. That Oklahoma State patented diamond formation. We call it. We've got two cowboy backs, a tailback, and two wide receivers out there. That's always been a staple here, and he really found a nice niche there, and kind of let him have it and let him roll with it, just because him and Logan did a really nice job with that. So that's kind of his short yardage. He was the fullback, in our heavy set, did a nice job there. So yeah, he's got a place in the offense.
Yeah, and what I was going to say too, man, if you ask me for a handful of plays in my mind that I can instantly recall and describe, the fake punt against Baylor is one where he makes the
Yeah.
catch.
Yeah, made the throw. Yeah, I think it was I believe it was the
Or
Logan
he made
too,
the throw. That's right.
Yeah. So no, those guys are an intricate part in the offensive team, special teams. So they're doing a nice job, and I think one of the things in our offense in our room, I really try to drive home with these guys. Bill Belichick. You do your job. But whatever our job is, whatever is called upon us to do, then do it the best of our ability, and I think that's what the guys come out and try to do every day.
Jason McEndoo, Cowboy backs coach, joining us, and I'll just wrap it up with this. None of us know what's going to go on here. We don't know how long this is going to go, and I do believe that we're good enough as a country that we'll eventually get ahead of this. But what's kind of been your advice to the kids as far as and I do know this, Rob Glass is in touch with them, and Rob's trying to do everything he can to help them, and he actually said, and your group is a good example of this, Coach. If I had to do this with a team, condition them, remotely and count on them to do things on their own, this is the group that gives me a chance to get it done.
Yeah, for sure. This our Cowboy culture here that we've ingrained in them, Coach Gundy and through Coach Glass. It's a lunch pail deal. These guys come to work every day. They know what it means to work. They know how to work, whether somebody's watching them or not. So I feel like right now in this time that's needed. Was just talking with my guys yesterday, and we were talking about the importance of academics and continue to find a way to lift and run and finding a daily schedule. Like I said, we're all kind of searching for that right now and figuring out what direction to go and just trying to encourage my guys and all of us coaches are trying to do it. Just encourage them to stay tuned in. This is uncharted territory here. The one good thing academically is that a lot of guys had already kind of transitioned to online classes before this. I think for my guys, Logan Carter, he's a nutrition major, so he had lots of labs,
Yeah.
and he had a lot of physical classes. But he's probably been the hardest guy transitioning from physical classes to online. But the rest of my guys have been online classes for the most part. So it's nothing new to them for that. So that's just a little bit more remote, I guess. I think the hardest part for guys and anybody out there, my son included, is just the physical place to work out. And the camaraderie, the being in the weight room together and working towards common goals. I mean, now your attitude, your work ethic, your determination is really going to be tested here when you've got nobody around pushing you, and so that's where the cream's going to rise to the top. Guys are going to go out and get to work in when nobody's looking.
Coach, I appreciate it, and I think you guys are in good shape with the Red Dirt Dojo. You guys have got a place that fits. I don't worry at all about. Of course, I don't worry at all about Luke anyway, and he's one of my favorites. I remember he gave me great confidence in my own son because we were at that playoff game with Dell City, or it was the last regular season game with Dell City. And Zach was there recruiting some kids, and I said, "What do you think?" And he looked at me and goes, "Luke McEndoo is the best player on the field." And I said, "Okay." All of a sudden, I have great confidence in your judgment, your evaluation here. That was he had a whale of a game in that one. Of course, he had a lot of good games last year. But hey, best to you and your family. Tell everybody hello, and you guys keep on keeping on. I know you will.
Yep. Appreciate you, Robert. You guys stay safe out there, too. Appreciate you. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Again, Jason McEndoo, and we got to get to a break. Patrick was getting nervous, but we're behind, and that's my fault. But we'll catch up because we got plenty of ways to catch up the rest of the way. We also have plenty of time for you to connect with us either on the TPT lines or the phone lines. We'll get back to it after this.
It doesn't get much more Oklahoma State than this. You're riding with the Robert Allen and Friends Show, presented by the Cimarron and Iowa Casinos. Check out the Cimarron Casino in Perkins and the Iowa Casino 6 miles west of Chandler for your chance to hit it big.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to stay under